losing weight is not an easy task, and many people try and try again and just can't seem to find the way to shed those pounds.
Yes, controversial author Steve Siebold says there's no excuse for that. But do you agree? Well, he joined us on the couch to talk to me and John about his new no-holds-barred book, Fat Loser.
Welcome, Steven Siebold. Explain what a fat loser is.
Fat loser is someone who loses fat. That's
Fat
it.
loser is not a negative term.
No, it's a positive term. Lose fat, fat loser, that's just a little play on words, but it's a positive thing.
But some of the things you say in this book, fat people wait to be rescued. A fat loser knows that they're the only person who can rescue themselves.
That's right. I think a lot of people are waiting for the government or the food companies or some kind of regulatory commission to come up and save them from themselves. A fat loser takes responsibility and makes it happen.
Okay, but you've gotten in trouble for some of your statements before and for being so bold, isn't that right? I mean,
I've had death threats here in New York, as a matter of fact, in New York and Europe, Australia.
Why do you think that what you say bothers people so much?
Because I think it's true. It's true. It's in your face, and it's not. There's no spin, and there's no soft.
I was gonna say, but couldn't there be a nicer approach to going about it, or is that just your style?
It's just not working. There is a nicer approach, and I would have taken that approach if it was working, but it's not working. The obesity epidemic is out of control, and it's getting worse every year.
Okay, let's show everybody how serious you think this is. Some of your main points are comply or die.
Right, comply to the diet, or you're going to die fat. It just is what it is. It's about time we started telling people the truth instead of sugarcoating it, because sugarcoating is not working.
Yeah, and sugar very bad for diets. Yes.
Bad for diets, absolutely.
Okay.
Stop waiting to be rescued. Stop socializing with fat people.
This one I had an issue with. I have to challenge you on this one. Stop socializing with fat people. To me, there are a lot of people in our lives that we interact with that we're very close to, and because they're overweight, we simply should stop talking to them.
Well, Einstein said it years ago, consciousness is contagious. If you want to succeed at something, get around people who are succeeding at it, because their thinking leads to their behavior, and their behavior creates the results. So get around fit people and listen to how they talk about exercise, how they talk about dieting in positive terms, as opposed to fat people say, oh, I'm too tired to exercise, I don't like to sweat, and diets are brutal and they don't work, and all those things. That's the point.
Right, but you can see how people would interpret that as saying, like, well, you know what, maybe I have family members who are overweight, and you're saying to stop socializing with them. So how would somebody attack that?
Well, limit your exposure. If you want to be rich, don't hang around poor people. Hang around rich people who
that's
think
another
rich.
One of your books.
That's right, exactly right. Because consciousness, the way we think creates our behavior. And so you got to get around people who are winning, not failing.
You also talk about growing up emotionally, and this is actually one of the points that I did enjoy out of the book, is where you say stop behaving like a child and think like a mature adult when it comes to your diet. So do you think that a lot of people still like to go for the chicken tenders and the pizza, and they want the results of being thin?
Sure, who doesn't? I want to too. I want to eat the pizza and the donut. I love all that stuff like everyone else, but it doesn't work. So I think we have to think through logic as opposed to emotion when it comes to our weight.
Now, this all comes from personal experience. Tell us that. Tell us about your experience.
Yeah, about 10 years ago, I gained 40 pounds. I give speeches for a living and write books, of course, and travel all over the world. And I just, airports and hotels and not paying attention. All of a sudden, I'm 40 pounds overweight. And I thought, okay, I'm a mental toughness coach, and I'm fat. This is bad. So I wrote a program for myself. 12 weeks later, I lost the weight, and I never went back. It's great.
So now you're giving away this book.
Right.
Is that correct? Why do you think it's so important for people to read this?
Well, because I think to save themselves from from poor habits. And I'm giving it away because a lot of people say a $20 book is not something they can afford. I can afford to give it away, so I'm giving it away at fatloser.com. That's the website.
Yeah, but you can see why people would say, well, what do you know about this? What people would question you. Why are you an expert on this?
Well, I've spoken and written on, all over the world, mental toughness training for the last 30 years. I advised the biggest corporations, some of the biggest corporations in the world on the topic. And I also had the personal experience, so that's kind of where my expertise comes from.
Okay, well, now again, you can get a free copy of Fat Loser by going to www.fatloser.com.